Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Brenda Perryman Show right here on TV 33, WHPR, Comcast 20 in Detroit. And boy, it's a beautiful day outside. And we have some wonderful conversation that is getting ready to go on today. I am really appreciative to my first guest and my second guest. We're going to do a little bit of good and welfare and then entertainment, and I love entertainment. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my guests, Miss Vanay Yabuku and Katrina Claxton. Right?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's nice to have young people on to start the day, isn't it? It's so nice. And they are with an organization called Women of Virtue. And you all will be happy to hear about this organization. It is just wonderful. But let's get some background on the ladies first. Now, Vanay,
Yes.
you went to Southfield.
Yes, I did.
And oh, you were in drama. No, but anyway, also though you went to Michigan State.
Yes, I did. And I graduated from Michigan State in 2009 with a bachelor's degree in family community services with the emphasis in youth child development.
And Vanay's father is the great director, Ruben Yabuku.
Yes,
And
yes.
all of you have heard of him, and many of you have seen his plays and everything. He's a writer too. Good morning, Ruben.
Hey,
and,
Daddy.
And Katrina, could you tell us about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm actually from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philly.
Came all the way to Michigan to go to Michigan State. And I love the state so much, I decided to stay. So
Wow.
I'm here.
What was your major?
Same as Vanay, family community services with a concentration on youth and child development.
Now, tell us a little about that major. What does it encompass? What is the reason for it and everything?
It is it's out of social services, so we are able to work with the family as a whole, parent and child interactions, and build and promote their relationships within each other.
Oh, that's so important today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
it seems like the family, in some ways, is falling apart.
Yes.
Definitely.
And so, when did you begin Women of Virtue?
It was founded actually February 22nd of 2012, but we actually didn't get really started until March of 2013, and we had our first self-image workshop, which was in June. It was June 1st. It was called Envision Your Future, and it was at the Northwest Activity Center. We had Marshall Miles come out to speak.
Right.
We also had Dawn Jemison. She was a life coach, and she came out to speak with the young ladies. And what happened there, we had a vision board event, and they were able to.
Well, tell us first, though, how did you get these women? What did you do? You called them and...
I called them, emailed, text. A lot were family and friends. They brought their family and friends, and the word just spread. So it was very exciting.
You were at that meeting, and the life coach had you do what?
She was one of our guest speakers, and she just spoke to the young ladies about how to activate your goals and put things in a plan and how to really enhance their lives.
And so this was something you started out in March, and you were able to get the buy-in from these women.
Yes.
I think, well, why don't you all tell us why this is important to do this now? Were they mostly younger mothers or women?
It was a variety of different ages. The youngest probably, I would say, was like 13, and
wow.
yeah, and it went all the way up from there. So it was definitely a good mix. Definitely a lot of wisdom in the room, a lot of love in the room.
Yeah.
It was really, really a great experience.
Katrina, excuse me, how did you see the experience?
I thought it was very touching to see so many women in one room for a positive reason. We had even some of the visitors come up to the podium and share their story and encourage even themselves. So it was just really great to see a platform where women can really encourage each other.
Yes.
What kind of stories did you hear? I mean, what did these women feel they needed this?
Absolutely. We did a commentary afterwards, so we got to hear a lot of their opinions about the event. And a lot of women came there already knowing what their purpose was, but not really knowing how to execute it. So with having other women around to encourage them and just uplift them with words of inspiration, that just gave them that boost to go out and do that.
So once again, what kind of stories did you hear? Did you hear stories of, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, or I'm overwhelmed with things, or the teenager? What did the teenager have to say?
We had a lot of responses from the teenagers. A lot of them were my cousins, my relatives, and what they were saying was sometimes they don't really put things. They have a dream inside their head, but they don't know exactly how to go about doing them. And so at this event, they were able to write down pictures, or they were able to write down words of inspiration to help them get closer. Plan A, plan B, plan C. These are the steps I'm going to take. Now I have a larger vision, and now I can really go out there and do my destiny and do my calling.
Definitely.
That is so good to have some kind of mentorship when you're young, instead of, we all make mistakes, and we're all, but a lot of times we don't. I know I didn't have anybody to come and say, why don't you join this organization and stuff. Well, we had little clubs and everything when I was coming up, but we didn't have, we were more for fun. I mean, really, I was in high school. I was in the Royers, which was a part of Sigma Gamma Rho. I guess it's teenage part, but we'd plan parties.
And that's what Women of Virtue is really all about, is to go out there and set that foundation and have a support-based system with the women who are on the squad to be able to come out and motivate them and tell them our experience from our own story.
And that's what I want to get into. Katrina, can you tell us your experience, why you wanted to do this?
Well, I wanted to do this just out of a need that I feel that young women often have, and that's the absence of a father figure. I feel that that plays a big role on how we see ourselves, how we see our own self-worth, because when you think about it, a father tells their daughter every day, you are beautiful, you are my little girl, and encourages them in who they are. Now, if you take that away, how does that little girl know who she is? Who tells her that? So
Or if she never has it.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So I feel like this organization kind of, I wouldn't say replaces that figure, because you can never replace it, but kind of speaks that word that they might not have heard, or may just not have heard lately, or just need to be reminded of it. So that kind of really motivates me to be like, yes, I want to be that person in a young girl or older woman's life to say, you are worthy. You are worthy of, love. You are worthy of greatness. You're worthy of success. So that's why I'm here.
So did you have something missing in your life?
Well, yes. My dad died when I was 12 years old. He had a massive heart attack and died. So I went from having a very strong father figure in my life to now not. And I seen, my mom, having to struggle with being a single parent, but never complained about it. I rarely seen her cry. When I would talk to her, she, would always tell me that we have to look on the positive. We know our situation is going to change. So having that strong mother, helped me to get through. But I always realized how the absence of my father played a part in my life growing up.
Did it ever play a part in your decisions about men?
Yes, of course, as a teenager, probably rushed into relationships when I shouldn't have been. But once I matured and my thinking matured, I started to look for someone who had the characteristics of my father. I wanted someone who was going to love me for who I was. I wanted someone who was going to bring out the greatness inside of me, who was going to support me. And I'm very thankful to say I found one.
Oh, are you married?
Yes, for a month. It's brand new.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Wow, that is so nice.
Yes. So.
That is so nice. So you set a standard for yourself.
Yes. Yes, and not everybody came very close to that standard, but you have to be willing to say, I'm worth it. I'm worth a man that's going to meet up to where I am, and I'm not going to settle for less.
Right.
That's so nice. Vanay,
Yes.
where did you come from? What made you want to do this?
Can
you tell us your story?
Yes, absolutely. I did grow up in a two-parent household. I was adopted at 6 weeks. So going into life, I put in the back of my head as if my birth mother and father had passed away, so I didn't have to deal with it. But as I got older, I really had to come into terms with myself, and I had to know who I was. And I think that's what I lacked. I lacked the identity issue. It was an identity crisis with myself. And during that time, I got pregnant at the age of 19, and I was a single mother. My daughter is 6 years old now. But going through that process, I really wanted to talk to someone who I could relate to. And a lot of people are usually scared to tell their story, or they don't want other people to judge them or anything like that. But that would have really uplifted me and encouraged me to know that someone else was experiencing what I was experiencing, right, and that I wasn't by myself. So me feeling sometimes that I was a little by myself, I tried to hide it and things of that nature, but I went through a period where I was depressed, and I had to really find who Vanay was. And I think Women of Virtue really is going to help women come out of that shell, to know who they are, to be aware of their identity. Who are you? What do you love? You need to live a life of fulfillment, a life of happiness. And at that point, I was not doing that. But now I am doing that. I'm very content, and I'm satisfied, and I'm fulfilled, and I have abundance, and I just absolutely love that. But it came from me knowing who I was. So what we really want to do with Women of Virtue is to help them identify who they are, activate their gifts and talents, and go out and do what they were called to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you went on to finish college?
I did.
Some
yes,
women
I did.
do not do that, so
Right.
you did have some support.
Yes, I
You
had
had
family support. Yes, I did.
And that's very important,
Yes.
don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know where I would be without my family and my friends and God, of course. Because at that time, it was just so many emotions, so many things that were going on, and it was hard to, stand up to it all. But yes, I did graduate. I came out 5 years later. My daughter was 2 at the time, and yes, I walked across the stage. So that was a big
Excellent.
accomplishment.
Oh, yes, it was an accomplishment, especially, when you have children, your life alters, right?
Yes.
And but you were able to go on and complete school, and you think about it, you have a great parents
Yes, I do.
and brother.
Yes, yes.
That was just the most hilarious. I mean, I just love him. And so, when does Women of Virtue? When do they meet?
Now, our next event that we are having, we're trying to do fundraisers because we want to become a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are meeting November 12th at Southfield High School for Zumba. So we're going to be talking about health. We're going to be having fun. It's going to be networking, socializing with other women. You can bring your kids. It's $10 for adults and $4 for children, but we're going to have fun. Our next event will be in January, and that is You Are Worthy. I'm really excited about that. It is a self-image workshop where we really will be going into the inner self. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How can we counteract those to overcome? So we're really going to be looking at a lot of past experience and things like that has matured you into who you are today.
How old are you?
I am 27 years old.
How old are you?
24.
These young women finding themselves early. It took me 100 years to find myself. I mean, I was, really. I mean, seriously, the fact that you can, and part of finding yourself is being honest with yourself.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Can you speak to that? What kind of truths did you have to come to?
Some of my truths that I had to come into, I was a people pleaser. I wanted to go with the in crowd.
That is one of the biggest mistakes that people make, trying to be, and then you find out you're a square peg trying to fit in a round hole.
Right.
You're not fitting because it's not you,
And
right?
it's not you, and you let other people's perceptions of you become who you are, and that's not really who you are. Another one I had to deal with was lack of confidence in myself. I had that self-doubt, and that fear come in, and it attacked me. And when I wanted to go out and do something, I slowly went back into where I was because I didn't believe that I could do it. So having that faith base, knowing that you can honestly believe that you have the abilities and the powers to do what you were called to do. Everybody has purpose, and everybody is destined to do something. So you have to believe that you already have it. You're already equipped with it. You just have to really activate it, push that red button of activation, and go forth and do your destiny.
Well, one thing with the age groups, I wanted to talk to you about that. because you have some teenagers and you have some maybe older women, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Do you divide up the groups for different things? I mean, it seems like there are different sets of issues for the
That's true.
different age groups.
That is very true. We are going to start a mentoring program, and that will be for girls 13 to 18. I'm sorry, 17. And once you turn 18, there will be life coaches that will be available to you. We understand that the different age ranges you're going to come against different things. But what we really want to work on is and women and empowerment. And so that can be helpful for anyone as far as being a support system.
Definitely.
Well, you have to get the women where they
Yes.
Most definitely.
And that's what we really focus on is loving people where they are. We take it as a non-judgmental approach. We want to love you.
That's good. Because a lot, being judged, that is just
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We don't want people to come in Women of Virtue feeling down or condemned or anything of that nature. We really just want them to come in as who they are and for us to love them where they are and walk in love with them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because that was just like my only concern, because I know the woman 30 may have a different set of issues than the girl 13. Now, right now, you're trying to get the organization
Yes.
together, everything, and then, like you said, you'll have the mentors for the younger women, and some of the 30-year-olds may need mentorship. I know
yeah, we all do.
I mentor a lot of people of all different kinds of ages. It's important because if you have something, I can see you, and a lot of people, this is a mistake that people make. They think that if someone's younger than you, they can't mentor you, and that's not the case.
Yes.
Don't you agree?
I do agree. I actually had someone come up to me at the Vision Your Future workshop and say, I didn't think that I could actually learn something from someone that's younger than me. But, she did. And for that, I'm very grateful that she had that experience. And when you were saying how you're older and you might be at a different point, you might be at a different point in stage, but it all kind of stems from a same experience, maybe a father not being in the home and things of that nature. So I think that we can help build each other up.
Yes.
And just surround each other with love and just really walk together in this.
Right. And then, too, people's approach to work, people's approach to school, their mindsets. That's very important. Don't you think so, Katrina?
Yes, and I would like to also add that I feel like with Women of Virtue, we're trying to bridge the gap. There has been a disconnect between older generations and the younger generations. You have a lot of younger generations now that we have that attitude where we know it all, it's about me, I can do this, and we're trying to really show that there is so much to learn, and a lot of those hardships that you had to experience could have been avoided if you took heed to the advice of, wiser people that have kind of been there, done that kind of thing. So we're letting that be another principle there, and having all the women together. And like Vanay was saying at the last workshop that we had older women talking about entrepreneurship that really, for me personally, really helped me to see, if she can do it, I know I can do it. If she's stepping out on faith, I know I can too.
Are you thinking of being an entrepreneur?
Possibly in the near future.
I mean, sometimes we just fall into it. We
Yes.
fall into it, and that's that's something good, because we as a people it dates way back. We were entrepreneurs. Because we are creative people, we design things. We're able to make things. We're able to make money out of what we know or know how to do. It's funny, I was showing you this picture that someone sent me this morning. Someone sent me a picture, a young man I went to high school with, of me standing out on the street of my high school. This was near the end of the year because we had to wear uniforms. And I made these slacks, and they were really different. They were big polka dots, and then had little flares at the bottom. And I have seen those pants. If I would have taken what I used to try and design little clothes and stuff, if I would have taken that, I might have found another revenue stream.
Right.
And sometimes, but not that I'm not doing the things that I always have done, because always I've done theater and stuff like that. But if we look at what we do, like you're a dancer.
Yeah.
This is one thing I know about you. You could just take what you know about dance and teach it.
Yeah.
You know? We all have something that is our first love that we can do. Don't you agree?
I definitely agree. I feel like everybody, like I said, everybody has purpose. And everybody has that one thing, that one skill, those gifts and those talents that they could put together and just go with it. That no one else can do. You might run into someone who does dance, but they don't dance like you. They don't use the same skills and techniques that you do.
No 2 days are alike.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's very true. I definitely agree.
So, I mean, you all have a heck of a future. If our audience wants to know more about Women of Virtue, what should they do?
They can go to our website, and it's www.womenofvirtue31.org, or they can like us on our Facebook page, and that is going to be Facebook.com/Women of Virtue Inc. What else? Or they can reach us by phone at 313-736-2858 personally and talk to us.
Right, because this is just so wonderful, wonderful to reach out. And like I said, I'm going to get involved with it. In January, I'm going to do some things.
Yes.
I've been lucky to have had experiences. And if you don't share those experiences, why did God give them to you?
Exactly, exactly.
We got to reach and
Yes.
help.
People. Yep.
Yes.
So our mission statement is to educate, empower, and inspire. So that's exactly what we want to do.
Wonderful. That is just lovely. Isn't that wonderful, ladies and gentlemen? Seriously. I congratulate you both.
Thank
and
you.
I wish you the best,
Thank you.
best of everything. And
Thank you.
I'm sure that this organization is going to grow because you all are young, you're intelligent, and you see, there's an absence of judgment there, that you're not judging the other woman, So, ladies and gentlemen, Women of Virtue 31?
Nope, just Women of Virtue.
Women of Virtue. I'm talking about the website.
Oh, the website is womenofvirtue31.org. Yes.
I remember. So we'll be back in just a moment with my guests, Al McKenzie and Naima Shambaray. We'll see you in just a moment.
When you speak low, our summer day withers away. Too soon, too soon. Speak low. When you speak love, our moment is swift, like ships on a drift. We're swept apart too soon. Speak low. Love is a spark lost in the dark. Too soon, too soon. I feel.
Good morning, good morning. I'd love to tell you that was me singing, but it wasn't. Again, but one day, that was one of my guests this morning, and Miss Naima Shambaray. Good morning, Naima.
Good morning.
Oh, listen to that voice. You could tell that's her. And we have the great musical director, former musical director of The Temptations, Mr. Al McKenzie, a friend of the show, a friend of mine, and I guess one of my producers, my producer coming up. We can talk about that later.
Okay.
And good morning, Al.
Good morning. How are you, Brenda?
I'm just wonderful. It's always good to see
Looking
you.
beautiful today.
Oh, so I've been looking bad.
No, I
I'm
mean,
just-
you
thank
took it to another level this morning.
Oh, well, thank you, man.
He knows what to say.
I know he does. He does. And we are excited about an event that's coming up next week. But let's first get a little background here. Naima, how many years have you been singing?
From the crib.
Now, were you
Actually,
raised here in Detroit?
Raised here in Detroit, and I'm from a musical family. My entire family was in music,
Wow. Wow.
from classical, gospel, jazz, R&B, you name it, it's in our family.
Wow. And so you started singing professionally at what age?
I started singing professionally at about the age of 19.
Oh, okay. And you're more of a jazz singer?
Yes, I am.
And you have, would you tell our audience some of the venues and festivals that you performed in?
Well, of course, I've worked in the Detroit International Jazz Festival from its inception, when it was other than Detroit International Jazz Festival. Well, it had been named many other festivals. I was there from the beginning. I've worked in Oklahoma, New York, Maryland, Illinois.
And your heart belongs to Detroit, though.
Love Detroit.
And Al, you went to, what high school did you go to?
Central.
Oh, you went to Central. You went to Northwestern?
Absolutely.
The Big N.O.?
The big and O.
Boop, boop. I mean, there was always, I had to put that little thing because people always
Right.
did. I remember they used to cheer. The Big N.O. I know. And your musical director was the great Ernie Rogers, right?
The band director at
Band
Northwestern,
director.
yes, yeah. The great Ernie Rogers.
Yes, and you play what instruments?
Well, I'm closest to being proficient on piano.
Oh, you
but
are
I've-
proficient.
But I fooled around with many instruments, especially coming up in school: cello, clarinet, flute, trumpet, trombone. I played for a number of years, baritone. So,
Wow. So you know what you're listening to when you're directing a band, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
And you had the great experience during this last jazz festival to do a tribute to the great Teddy Harris, right?
Absolutely, and it was truly an honor to direct that band. And it's
Could
a-
you tell the audience some of the band members that were in there?
Oh, I mean, of course, James Carter and Alex Harding, originally from Detroit, but has been in New York for a number of years. Racy Biggs, Dwight Adams,
Oh my goodness.
Douglas, Alonzo Armstrong. I mean, just Ralph Armstrong. Just
And
on
it
and
was
on and on.
so full circle because Teddy was a mentor of yours, and Teddy was the one who threw you out on the road, wasn't he?
Threw me out.
Tell the audience
On the
that
road.
story.
Well, I mean, and I had to reflect on that over the last couple of months, especially since the Jazz Festival. And I saw, it took me this long to really see that I think he had that in mind for me all the time. Because years prior to me going on the road, going to New York with Martha Reeves, he threw me into some situations at Dummy George's, with Marlena Shaw, et cetera, where I was in a leadership capacity, and he was just taking that off. Oh, Al, you got it. I'm like, oh, you know. So he knew he was doing. So by the time the phone call came from Miss Reeves, he gave me the pep talk. You know, you got it. Just go out there and do what you're supposed to do.
And you were going overseas or just around the country?
Well, the first trip, we actually just stayed in New York New York City for 3 weeks. And that was, I mean, that's going to be your first road trip. That's a good one.
So what was the reaction to the band members with someone so young coming on at the helm?
You know, luckily the band, we traveled with the all Detroit band. So they were familiar with me, I was familiar with them. So the first year or so wasn't really an issue with personalities. It was probably after that when we started picking up bands from different musicians from around the world, and each city we went into, it got to be a little interesting.
Oh,
so
it got
young.
to be interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So, but it gave you so much experience being at the helm that you want to be at the helm all the time.
all the time.
Yeah,
all the
you
time.
told me that before. You told me
Yeah,
that.
if I can't be in the front, I don't want to get on the bus.
Now, Naima, tell me one of your most fantastic memories of singing or a venue or a concert, one of your greatest memories that you hold dear.
When I did the Ella Fitzgerald show with the Adrian Jazz Orchestra.
Tell us about that. Where was that?
It was in Adrian, Michigan, at the Ross. What's the college there? Adrian University, Roscommon College, or is that in Roscommon, Michigan? It was last year.
Oh, really?
And 17-piece orchestra.
Wow.
And-
And you did.
Fantastic. It was
Were you there?
fantastic.
Yes, it
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. And you did a tribute to Ella?
Tribute to Ella.
Oh my gosh, you scat?
Yes.
Oh,
Does
my
she scat?
Oh, come on, give me a little bit. Can you give us
I'm
a
not
little
the
bit?
best scatter in
Oh,
the world,
just
but
give me a little something.
oh,
something.
Gee. It's early in the morning. It's early. It's early.
Your turn.
Bravo! Oh, well, you know what my thing is. I dreamed
know.
about you last night.
Uh-huh.
My poetry, that's my thing. That's my gift. But that was wonderful. That
you.
was wonderful. Everybody ain't able. And you're able. And Al, how did you two meet?
Oddly enough, through Dr. Teddy Harris.
Oh,
And it took a number of years. No, it didn't. It was almost instant that we started performing together.
really?
So Teddy also had a vocal group called the Detroit Voices.
Right.
And Naima and her husband were part of that ensemble, and the band, the Bebop Society, played behind them we performed together, I should say. And that's where I met Naima at, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, I was the first vocalist with the New Breed Bebop Society.
Yes,
Oh,
she
well,
was.
I remember New Breed very, very well.
Yes.
And I remember Teddy very well. I've known Teddy a long time, just on a different way, because I taught his stepdaughters. And Martha was the one, his dear wife, Martha Hall Harris, she would always say. She's the one who threw me on stage to do poetry. I was never going to do poetry on stage, and she invited me to a Cass Tech event because she used to do the Cass Tech events. And she said, Brenda, get up there and do some poetry. I said, what? Are you kidding me? And she said, yes, and I don't know. Just like Teddy. She just
Right.
like Teddy. Just throw you up there, and I was able to do it
Right.
and saw that I could do it and command a crowd. So those are two wonderful people, right?
And actually, I remember you even doing things when the big band events.
I did.
And
I
who was that?
lucky.
B-Buck events. Too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was just lucky. But you two, you do something I always wanted to do, and that is sing. And Teddy, Teddy, oh gosh, I'm sorry, Al.
I'll take it. I
I
accept
know.
that.
Al, before we get into this event next week, I want you to tell the audience about In Accord.
Well, In Accord is an organization I started I'm close to 10 years ago now. And when I retired from the road, I want to give back in the same way, in the same spirit that I was given when I was young, with free workshops and scholarships, etc. I went to Interlochen for a couple of years when I was 14 and 15.
Tell the audience about Interlochen.
Interlochen is an internationally renowned, not only music academy, but they also have a wonderful camp that they do every year. And kids are there from all over the world. Instructors are there from all over the world. It's a competitive camp, which means that you just can't pay your money, although it's expensive. You can't just pay your money and go. You have to audition, and then you get a chance for them to give them your money. So
That's something.
yeah, so that just shows
Now,
you the
do
caliber.
they just take a select number of children each year, or it's just who can pass the test, pass the audition?
Well, they have a variety of orchestras and ensembles, so the first criteria is, of course, to satisfy whatever number that is. And there, to answer your question, there is a limited number of musicians that can go every year. When you think about the 1,200 or 1,300, I think it is, campers per year, and the number of applications they get every year is they only accept, a small number for the camp.
Oh, amazing! And so in accord does what?
We provide full scholarships to our inner city kids. And as Interlochen, first of all, is upstate Michigan, and it's not that far. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 hours, if that far. However, each scholarship for the 6 or 7 week program is upwards to $8,000. So of course, that's college tuition.
Prohibitive too for a lot of families, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, you can imagine a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid. I mean, they're not going to be able to do, a lot of them can't do that. So that's where Inner Core comes in. And thus far, we've provided 21 full scholarships to our inner city kids over the last 5 years.
That is fantastic, but you can't pull that money out of your pocket.
Oh, no.
You have to do it.
It's
through-
hard work, and a lot of fundraisers, a lot of concerts, a lot of events, and we try to expose what we're doing to as many people as possible. And the great thing about what we're doing is that word of mouth has really been our biggest advertisement for our programs and also for our fundraisers, because our kids just do such a fantastic job. Not only in Detroit when they come back, but at the camp. I mean, the kids are showing out. They're really doing a great job up there.
Well, there's so much talent here in Detroit, and they've taken so many of the arts out of the public schools.
Yes.
And so you're able to kind of support the kids, be that more than a supplement, you can be the thing for those kids,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And that's what our efforts are, trying to be the thing for those kids.
So where that's the only word I could come up with.
It's a good one.
But okay, your kids come to you. Do they already have the do they have any training? What happens?
We do workshops throughout the year. I mean, the Interlochen Scholarship is really, it started off, it was the first thing that we did, but at this point, it's probably the smallest thing that we do. We do ongoing workshops at Baker's Keyboards Lounge
And
every
I wanted
Sunday.
you to speak to that.
And everything that we do in the city is free to the kids. So we've done Baker's Keyboard Lounge every Sunday, 3 to 5. 8 to 18 is free. We do a combo workshop 1 to 3 on Saturdays at Horatio Williams Foundation,
Right.
1010 Antietam downtown, free to the kids. We just started a summer camp last summer, 7 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 6 hours a day, free to the kids. All professional instruction, ensembles, and so we have a good time with the kids.
Well, lastly, what about people in my audience who have a child who plays an instrument, but they need more, they're not getting it at school, and they may not have that money for private lessons? Can the kids come over to Baker's and at least audition for the band?
There is no audition for the band. You come, whatever you play, whether you have an instrument or not, come to Baker's from 3 to 5 on Sunday, because a lot of what we do is without the instrument, ear training and
What is ear training?
Ear training is, well, of course, playing by ear, but what we try to do is give you the tools to play by ear. And a lot of it has to do with solfege and the recognition of chords, major, minor, those type of things.
Wow.
And a lot of times we already know what, we haven't been able to define what we're hearing yet. We know we're hearing something. We know a lot of kids can duplicate a sound when they sing it. You sing something to the kids, they can sing it back to you. They haven't been able to, at some point, through solfege and those type of things, they're able to transfer that to other songs and other disciplines.
Wow. Naima, now, did you have to learn to read music?
Well, fortunately, from a musical family, I started music starting at age 5. So I went to the Robert Owen School of Music, where we had to do music theory, and we also studied piano. My sister and I studied piano with some other teachers, and so at a very young age, I learned how to read music, and that has helped me tremendously with singing, and also working with other voice students.
So you play
sometimes.
piano?
I play at it for myself. I can pick out my music that I have to learn, but other than that, I would not ask anyone to hire me to be their piano player.
Like,
She's being modest.
oh, now you have to do fundraisers. When is your next fundraiser for In Accord?
The next fundraiser is actually next Thursday, and it's featuring
That's
Miss
what
Naima.
we're getting to.
Miss
Would you tell
Naima's-
the audience about that?
Well, we're going to be at the Jazz Cafe at the Music Hall next Thursday, the 17th, at 7 o'clock, and it's featuring Miss Naima Chamberger.
Oh, wow. And you heard a little of her music, everybody. You heard the CD, and you just heard her scat here. And who else is on the show?
There's a wonderful poet.
Oh.
Her name escapes me.
Oh, okay.
We know her.
We know her very well. You probably know her very well as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there. But you
No,
have
no,
some-
Miss Brenda Perryman will also be there with us.
I'll perform a few, and I'm the MC.
And also the MC. And the band's a fantastic band. Mr. Ron Otis.
Oh, I love Ron.
Marion Hayden, and of course, I'll be playing the
Straight
piano.
ahead,
Yes.
Marion.
So we're going to have a great, great, great time. And of course, for that level of entertainment, I mean, it's only $10. We're going to have a great,
That's
great time.
cheap.
Yeah.
That's cheap. Plus, you could sit down and eat. Because last time I was there, I
Yeah, the
ate.
food was pretty good there.
It was good.
It was actually surprisingly good. You're right.
It was good, and this is a good night. It's Thursday night, getting ready for the weekend. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? And I'm surprised. Are you going to do one with your wife, Penny?
No, but we're going to. An event, yes, and actually we do quite a few events together. You know, this is a part of our Discovery series. So every month we'll feature a different jazz vocalist, and of course,
Really?
and of course, Penny will be one of those.
Oh, okay. Very good. And we're talking about Penny Wells, everybody. And a lot of people should have heard of her, too. Naima, what are you going to do for us that night?
Well, I have a new CD out called Round Midnight.
I
So
know, and
I-
Round Midnight, that is, that song is by
Thelonious Monk.
Thelonious Monk.
Yes. And I will be doing some things from that CD. Speak Low, which you opened the show with.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I cannot wait to put that in my car. I cannot wait. What are some of the other tunes that you have on the CD?
Black Coffee, which is an old
Black
1930s,
Coffee?
Yeah, it's an old.
What are
blues
some of the
song.
lyrics to Black Coffee?
Oh my God, let's see. I'm feeling mighty lonely. And Sunday is let me see, I'm feeling mighty lonesome. I haven't slept a wink. And in between the nicotine, all I do is drink
All
black
right.
coffee.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You see how I keep tricking her into singing? I do that on purpose.
It's hard to say the lyric. You have to think
Yeah,
about the
you have
song.
to. I have to put myself into it.
Right.
I understand. And you have Black Coffee, and what are other ones?
A Time for Love, which is a really beautiful ballad. I Remember April.
Wow.
It's on there.
And there's a couple songs I love to hear her sing. One is All Blues, and
Yeah,
the
we're
other
gonna
one
do
is
that.
Wave.
We're gonna do All Blues.
Okay, I'm putting my request in.
I had the request for next Thursday night. All
Yeah.
blues.
And we'll do Wave also.
Yeah, okay.
See,
Wave.
Al was my first musical director. He was like 17 years old.
Oh, you're kidding.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
You were 17. Were you still in high school?
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
And he did it.
How did you feel about this little young upstart?
Well, we were working together with Teddy Harris's big
Oh
band,
well,
and
there-
so
Right.
I knew what
that
he could
explains
do.
that
Right.
explains it all.
I knew what he could do, and Stevie Wonder came to town one day, and I called Al because Stevie was going to pay for one of my recording sessions, and Al was supposed to go out of town with Martha Reeves, and he came over, we did the session, and Al was so nervous. He said, I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous. But we did it, and
Right.
I had to rush him to the airport. I think he made it just in time
Yeah.
to get on the plane.
Well, those are
Yeah.
the experiences that we artists have and everything, but you got it down and you had him
down.
with you, which was wonderful.
Was,
great.
was Stevie Wonder, though?
I
Yeah.
know, I know. I heard this story about Stevie. This was in the 80s, and he was playing, how the whole band is in the studio, and they're playing, and then all of a sudden, somebody had a tape recorder in there, and he heard the click. Amidst all this music, he heard the click. And he stopped it all and said, who has his hearing is so amazing, they say.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It is.
So that was wonderful.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Wow. I mean, and you're out of this town, and at this town, I don't know, I hope we're having a renaissance, but I hope the town is having a renaissance, but arts are having a
Oh,
renaissance in
absolutely.
this
they
town.
are.
Absolutely.
They are, and Richard Florida wrote that book that talks about that's what's going to help Detroit become a great city again.
It is.
Was the arts. It just you take care of your arts community. That's what he said.
Yes, and I agree 100%. And of course, over the last 20 years or so, that's probably it is the opposite of what we've been doing. Been taking music out of the schools and the level of entertainment that we expose our citizens to is probably not the best. So that's where Miss Brenda Perryman and Miss Naima Shaberjay come in to hold the torch and pass the
You
torch.
pass the torch. I've been trying. I'm still doing it. Pass the torch, and we have to highlight some of these young artists.
Oh, absolutely.
Too, and that's something that you're working with the young artists coming up. Can you tell the audience about any young artists that you work with who are really out there now?
They're really out there, meaning what?
I mean, really doing their thing around the country or the world?
Well, my approach to music is not so much to make stars out of them like an American Idol type of thing. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to educate the kids as best I can about music and about culture, and whether they use that to be better doctors or lawyers, I mean, it's okay. As a matter of fact, I've advised my kids not to major in music when they go to school, because the avenues that for music education is really just teaching. And what's the first thing they cut when they get their budget together? They cut the music teachers, the art teachers. So let's not set ourselves up. Have a good understanding of music. Have a good background in the arts and again in culture, and because what we need as artists, we need people that could afford to pay that $200 to go see Wynton Marsalis and appreciate it, as opposed to having them in front of the symphony all the time. I don't want to get on a soapbox, but I would love to hear Wynton Marsalis in a natural jazz environment like Baker's or
Yes.
those type of things.
One of my former students, he was a singer. He's only 26 right now. Last week he just was on the road with Wynton, singing with Wynton. I mean, he had just moved to New York like 3 months ago. He had just gotten married like 4 months ago. And he got that opportunity. And first thing I asked, I said, "Are you coming to Detroit?" He said, "No." We have to be that. We have to be that in part right now. We need people to start coming. And it used to be a day when artists would come, and they all go to Baker's. Let's have a jam session.
Right.
And I want to see that come back.
Yes.
We have such a wonderful massive history in jazz music in this city.
Yes.
The old, it's what, the Max now, but that was the Paradise.
Right, right.
Right.
And it was just so much wonderful music. All the greats would come here, and they called it the Chitlin.
Chitlin Circuit, right.
Then, you know, but it's so much, and it's too bad that that's one of the things that I talk to our young people about is our history. I like them to come over,
Yes.
sit down with them, and I have them listen to the music.
Have them listen and
Yes.
say, we could have that again. And they're playing your song again. That means show is about over. Oh my God, you know, we could talk about this forever. But next Thursday evening at the Jazz Cafe at the Music Hall, 7 p.m. The show starts 7 p.m. sharp, and we need you there. There are not a lot of seats either. So come on down. It's only $10. And if you have your hunger on, you can eat. And if you want it, you could get your drink on too. And aren't you excited about it?
I'm very excited about it.
So next Thursday evening, and we're gonna break a leg, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brenda, for having me.
Thank you all. And I will see you all this afternoon on Table Talk with Brenda Perryman. A lot to discuss. And we will see you next week with, we have some surprise guests for you next Friday morning. So see you then.
Find myself relaxing,